Good afternoon and welcome back to the channel. How are we all doing? All good, I hope. So Talaria have been in the lab, creating an absolute monster by the looks of it. Well, not a monster, more of a dragon. But yeah, today's video we're going to be talking about the new Talaria Dragon. Obviously I'm a massive Surron fanboy, you know that. I've had the Light Bee now for over a year. I am Surron through and through, but you cannot ignore what Talaria are up to at the moment. Obviously Surron haven't really changed their bikes in a long time, but they have brought out a few new additions to the range in the Storm Bee and the Ultra Bee. I feel like Talaria threw back a little bit their dominance in regards to the Sting R. And then they're the little party pieces. If the Sting R wasn't enough, they then come out with the XXX, which both look incredible bikes. Huge rivals to Surron, but the Surron's got those two older brothers. And apart from things like the Stark Varg, it's not really an awful lot of competition for them. In this video, I'm just going to run through a couple of the specs of the new Talaria Dragon, and I'm also going to be comparing this to the Surrons. Talaria have come out with some unbelievable stats for this bike, but I think if you were to compare it with something in its class, it's going to be a true representation on how good this thing potentially really could be. But we'll get the boring bits out of the way to start with. So let's start talking about the weight of the bike. Now, it will make more sense later in this video as to why the Talaria is this weight compared to its rival, the Surron. But Talaria have recorded this weight around 100 kilograms. So it is quite a hefty bike. You are sort of looking into the territory of some of the sort of 250 to 300cc motocross bikes. So she's a heavy girl. In comparison to the Surron's sitting around 85 kilograms. So nothing too major, but certainly a noticeable difference compared to the Surron. The nice thing about coming out this early on a weekend is there's some guys up here that fly remote control helicopters and drones and aeroplanes, but yeah, a nice morning like this is quite cool to see. The next stat that Talaria have come out with, something that we all want to know, is the top speed. So Talaria are boasting that this thing is going to have a top speed of 68 miles an hour. 68 mile an hour as stock is really impressive. And again, comparing this to the Ultra has a top speed of around 55, so much quicker. So yeah, 68 mile an hour to the Surron's 55 is a huge difference, and this is obviously stock as well. So you imagine if you start doing a controller upgrade and sprocket upgrades and stuff, the speed of this thing is potentially massive. And like I said earlier, sort of comparing this towards sort of motocross bikes, you're going to be well within that sort of territory there. Now, to give it all this power and all this speed, but obviously like I was saying earlier about the weight, this is all coming down to the battery size. So the battery they're putting in this thing it's going to be an 88.8 volt battery. This thing is just an absolute beast. That's unbelievable. And with that huge battery, you're getting 60.5 amp hours as well, which obviously, moving on to my next point, is going to be about the range. Now, you know, with most electric things, manufacturers are going to really boast on how far you can get on a charge, but as we all know, if we've got e-bikes or even electric cars, you can't always believe the range that the manufacturer is stating, because of course it's all going to depend on how you're riding these things, the terrain you're riding on, how fast you're riding it. But Talaria have actually stated that you're going to get 93 miles out of a charge. Now I know for a fact on my Light B, the range that Surron have given this, I don't get anywhere near it, especially now that I've upgraded and stuff like that. But even as stock, you're never really going to get that. But just for argument's sake, let's just say you even half that, and you're going to get closer to, say, maybe 40 to 50 miles. That's still pretty decent. Now, Talaria do say that with this range, you'd have to be travelling at a steady pace of around 15 mile an hour. And let's face it, we're not going to be travelling at 15 mile an hour. But also, we're not going to be flooring it absolutely everywhere. You have the odd few moments of fast acceleration and faster power, but the majority of the ride you are actually going a lot slower. So I'd say let's be realistic and put it around 50 miles. That is still really, really impressive. And obviously with this huge battery and this extreme amount of power, Talaria stated that it's going to have 630 Newton meters of torque. That's just ridiculous, a ridiculous amount of torque. I think when you look at the Ultra, I think that's running around 440 Newton meters of torque. So an absolute huge increase by Talaria. It also boasts that you can get 28 kilowatts. 28 kilowatts, that's astronomical. I mean, my Surron at the moment, I run about 7.3 at max. I believe the Ultra as standard runs about 12.5. So 28 kilowatts is just, it's massive. Fair play Talaria. Now, a couple of the other little differences between the Talaria and the Surron. The Talaria will come with a gearbox system. My only guess would be for that amount of power, just a belt drive system would not handle it, I guess. So I guess that has its advantages and disadvantages. Obviously, it's definitely going to allow the bike to get up to those sort of amounts of power. But obviously with that, there obviously then is a bit of servicing involved, I guess. But it can't be the end of the world, especially when you're getting power and results like that. Charge time as well, I think they're saying around 4.5 hours for a full charge, which again, I think you have to kind of expect that with the size of the battery, the size and the weight of the bike. I think as EVs progress more and more and more, I think we're on the understanding that yes, these things do need to charge up, and the more that we want out of these batteries and these EVs, the longer we are going to have to wait for charging. Another thing with the Talaria Dragon, it has 3 modes. Obviously, if you're familiar with Surrons, we have an eco and a sport mode. There's a couple of the other bikes now on the market that have like a rocket button that will boost the power for say 12 to 15 seconds. And it looks like Talaria is sort of heading down that route now. How long this mode's going to last, but essentially they now have a eco mode, a sport mode, and they also have a hyper mode. Now, I can't find any information on whether that will be a short-term boost or a physical mode that you can actually drive the bike in for a decent amount of time. A few of the other bits that Talaria are boasting is the wheel setup. It's now coming with a 21 18-inch setup. That's quite impressive. We haven't really seen any sort of setup like that on a stock bike, so that's pretty cool. Much more of a moto setup. And to accompany that, you've also got uprated motocross suspension and uprated motocross braking system as well. So it makes complete sense. If you're running that much power, you're going to be jumping that much higher, and you are going to need to stop that much quicker. So that makes complete sense.
But all in all, Talaria look like they've done a great job with this bike. And on paper, it looks like it's going to be one of the best e-bikes on the market. But there we are then, guys. I'm going to finish the video there. Thank you ever so much for watching. Please go ahead and hit that subscribe button. And if you could give this video a thumbs up, we'd massively appreciate it. But yeah, cheers guys. Thanks for watching. And I'll see you in the next one. Take it easy.